But I think part of Steph's issue with the turnovers is when it innately is option B. Sometimes like they're showing two, right? Or they're trapping him and they'll come out of a timeout and you can tell before he gets the ball, his mind is made up. Hey, I'm going to hit Clay on a slip. I'm going to hit Looney or Draymond slipping to the rim. So he comes off the screen and it's a predetermined read. But 9 out of 10 times within the flow of the game, when Steph comes off a screen or he has the ball, he's thinking shoot, then he's thinking shoot, then he's thinking shoot. No, but you know what I mean? Like, you're the greatest shooter of all time. Of course, he's looking for the shot first. And that beat for it to try to square up, a lot of the time it's when he comes off, he wants to square up. So, hey, can I get this shot? But as a true point guard or as a point guard in the way that Harden is playing now, and he hasn't played this way the whole time, but now that he's just a distributor's mindset, he is looking to pass first in a literal sense, and it allows him to be in a better position to make the passes. Some of it is like the actual body positioning. You coming off, are you squaring up for the shot? Or are you coming off and dragging it out so you have a pocket for the pass? And Steph, and again, innately, you can't really blame him for it coming off and hunting the shot, but I think it also plays a part in the turnovers because it's an option B, and it's always this. It's never the skip pass. I digress.
Well, we've got some commentary on the Bucks. You know, people are shooting 50% on them from the field, which is quite terrible. It seems like Giannis is in a situation where he started a new relationship, and he's like, well, the last person used to press my shirts and make sure my lunch pail was by the door. You know, Drew was doing all that. He was pressing the shirts. He was ironing the pants. He was making sure the lunch was there. But now, Giannis, the shirts are wrinkled and you're buying lunch. The lunch pail is not warm. You feel me? So they have difficulty covering the pick and roll, obviously. Lopez is getting taken out to the three-point line much, much more. You know, I was hearing Chuck and Shaq go back and forth. And in the playoffs, the reason Rudy Gobert has had limited success is because they just bring his ass out to the three-point line, and that kind of mitigates some of his effectiveness. And you're seeing some of that same thing with Lopez. And Giannis used to be able to count on the fact that Drew was going to be able to have sticky hands, get through screens, and he wouldn't have to come up as much to help. And I saw someone who put it pretty succinctly. They said the Bucks are experiencing the same drop-off without Drew that the Warriors saw after losing GP2 following their championship run. Subtracting your best perimeter defender has a domino effect that puts huge strain on team defense. So, you know, the moral of the story, be careful. Beauty's only skin deep. When it costs you more financially, mentally, and physically, you got to weigh out your options. So they may be cute, but do they handle conflict well? Do they motivate you to improve? You know, so I think Giannis is seeing, dang, it's a little different on the defensive end now.
Yeah, no, Giannis is, again, remember I brought up a few weeks ago, I was like, yo, is his story arc, is he becoming a villain here? But and it's all perspective. But if you listen to his quotes, his post-game quotes when they have bad games or whatever, to me it sounds like he's kind of talking to Dame. And he's trying to mask it. He was like, oh, even the ball boys, the trainers have to iron our jerseys better. The ball boys have to get the balls better. And so he was trying to like incorporate everybody. But if you really listen to what he's saying like, dude, Dame, you got to stop dying on screens. Like, you're going to have to give more energy on defense. But I think what's compounding it, like you said, to me, what I see is Lopez and Middleton have both lost a step. And, you know, for a big 7-footer like Lopez, it may not be quite as apparent, but he just doesn't recover at the basket. He doesn't get out. He's just a step slow. And Middleton looks like he's on Pinocchio legs. Like, those knees are going to go, bro. Those knees are going to go. His shit is. And so I don't think this Bucks thing is going to work out. I would say I feel bad for Dame, but I don't. but yeah, I don't. And then you look at the Pacers and this move that they made.
Yeah.
The Bucks, I think they're just aged out. I think that this Dame move was.
What, man? I don't think that you're too. People say, well, that's recency bias, or you're being a victim of the moment, or whatever. But I think, okay, let's think philosophically. And I'm not a scientist by any means, but those of y'all can fact check me if you want to. But technically, time might be hyperdriving, and I'm not going to get us into something weird. But what I'm really trying to say is what happened a year ago in comparison to what's going to happen 5 years from now it's not necessarily a one-to-one relationship. So when you say someone has phased out, it's because the game has changed. I'm certain that their performance would have been suitable 2 years ago. However, there's more hungry people with more skills filling those positions. And I think even from a human standpoint, we forget that if you're not moving forward or you're staying in the same spot, you are getting left behind. You might not recognize it, but you're getting left behind at a standard deviation that you don't understand. So when you talk about how the Bucks were hot and now they're not, people will be like, oh, how could you say this? They've still got this, they've still got that. But just from the sheer concept of evolution and everything naturally advancing, because that's what the goal of every organism is to thrive and advance. You know, these other teams are making moves, putting pieces together. So the same old performance, just isn't going to cut it. So that's my philosophical way to say, yeah, these top all-stars that we've seen to be unshakable and always in the top position, just by evolution, that's physically impossible, and we know that's nothing new. But we are seeing that with people losing a step and how people are catching up. This thing with Siakam is magnificent. Like, it's very forward thinking, and I think it's going to turn out quite well.
No, I feel you. Essentially, like, let's say Middleton took a step back, but then Tatum has taken a step forward.
Okay.
So now it's 2 steps.
Yes,
it's sir. 2 steps, right? And that's where the gap is, right? It's not just an indictment on the person. It's also the environment, right? I feel you. But yeah, and exactly. And then moving into this Siakam deal, it makes it's a perfect trade for the Pacers because, one, they didn't. I mean, yes, you give up first round picks, fine, but they're a solid team. I don't think they're going to be top 10 picks, and like there's some stipulations on them. And the thing is, they were never going to sign a max player in Indiana. That's what people like fail to realize is I know that Kawhi just extended, right, with the Clippers, but let's just say Kawhi took his free agency into this summer, or let's say Paul George does. And even Paul George, who was drafted by them, they're not taking a visit to Indiana. I don't care if 19-year-old LeBron is there. They're not. It's not happening. So they had to pounce on Siakam, this opportunity. And it's like there was a small trade as well, the Pistons and Wizards, who like to just trade busts back and forth. They're like, hey, you got some trash, I got some trash, let's make it happen. But the trade, so they traded Bagley, who's from out here, right, to Washington for Gallinari. Okay, that makes sense. They want some spread shooting, him and Muscala, to spread the floor. But what I heard, the headline on it was, the Pistons are going to have, do I have it written down? Like $64 million in cap room or something in the summer. Who the fuck's going to Detroit? It's useless. It's useless.
Yeah.
But Indiana, man, I was watching them last night blow out Sacramento without Siakam, without Halliburton. I like Mathurin. I like Nembhard. I like Cason Wallace. Not Cason Wallace, excuse me, Jarris Wallace. Different rookie. But like, I love their young players. You add Siakam, and he is going to give them some toughness. And then the beauty in Halliburton is he is just talking about Harden. He and Harden, that if you wanted to argue my Harden best passer thing as a guard, we're excluding Jokic, it's Halliburton and his mentality. And it's the luxury of having him as your lead guard is it's going to allow you a lot more different types of players to fit into your roster. Because if you look at Ja, you look at Ant, you look at SGA, they can do anything they want on the court, but their mentality is ball dominance. They're going to have the ball a lot and they're going to shoot a lot. And so when you have a lead guard who's spreading it out like that, now all of a sudden you'll be able to maximize your talent easier.
Yeah, I've always been a Miles Turner fan on the court and off the court. I've heard some very positive things about it. So yeah, you're right. I consider them to be tier 2.5, whatever that means. They're going to be in the conversation. So that's notable. I think it was a bubble experience when they were in the play-in games and all that type of stuff. But we got a snapshot of the fact that on any given evening, if they organize things, and putting Siakam there is not going to hurt by any means. I really like his story. Is it true that he didn't start playing ball till he was like 17 and then was drafted maybe like 8 years after that?
One thing I'll say is they say he's 29. But these would you be shocked if he was 35? No, but these cats with these stories from these third world countries. It's like, did you? But no, it is a lot of these cats picked it up late. And, Kuminga has a similar story. A lot of these guys come from playing soccer first, and it's the footwork is there. But no, I think it's a great move for them. Toronto, they turned, I saw the list. Did I put that somewhere here? Let me see if I had this here. No, that's a different thing. So they essentially turned Siakam and OG Anunoby, I can pull it off the top of my head, into RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, Bruce Brown, and I believe 4 first-round picks, 3 from Indiana and 1 from New York. There's some stipulations on it. Did they add maybe Jordan Nwora, who I don't know why people are even adding his name into it. And so I think they made all right, but it did set the market for trades because the Warriors were rumored to be interested in Siakam. And so basically, I said it in yesterday's video. So if that was the going price, it would have cost Chris Paul, Kuminga, and probably 2 first-round picks. I don't think they were ever going to make that deal to Toronto.